so relaxed now going into this. I just caught the end of the meditation. It's like perfect timing. So for those of you who are staying, I'm going to also be ending the session on a meditation. So you are going to be feeling incredibly relaxed by the end of this. So shall I just wait a few more minutes to let some more people in there? I can see the waiting room still quite busy.
Yeah. This one customer, Holly, I've been trying to admit her in, but it doesn't, like, somehow she's not, it keeps saying joining, but she's not in. I don't know why.
Oh, how annoying.
Maybe updated her app.
Yes, thank you for giving me the heads up that we need to update it.
Yeah, a lot of people are coming in.
Fab. Great, we've got them out the sunshine if they're in the UK, because it is really hot here. Okay, I'm going to start it's so hot, Lizzie, I know. I know, this is pure dedication. I'm very grateful that people are showing up to do this and take this time out for themselves for the next 40 minutes or so. So I'm going to share my screen now, as we're just letting a few more people in. Move this over. Well, it's kind of, the update's a bit annoying. There we go. Right, let's move you here. And then I'm going to press present. Okay. Fab. So hopefully you should now all be able to see my screen. And oh, there are some weird updates actually with this update. Okay, where's the chat living now? Sorry guys, I'm just getting used to this. Let's move this. Move this up here. Okay, right. So this was a super popular, I can't get my words up. It was a very popularly requested topic from the last workshop I did for the Happiness Planner a couple of weeks ago. And a lot of you asking me to really, I did a workshop on anxiety more generally. And there are a lot of requests for me to go into overthinking in a bit more detail. So this is why I am here today, to delve deeply into this area and for you to leave this workshop with tools and strategies to stop you from falling into the trap of overthinking, which we all do. So who am I? So if you haven't been to my workshop before, and I also know I've got a couple of clients in here, which is lovely. My name is Lucy Spicer, and I am an accredited psychological life coach. My background was working in the NHS. So in the UK, you'll know what that means, but it's the national healthcare system. So I was in specialist psychology services, delivering assessments and therapy. And I moved into my private practice into life coaching at the end of last year. I work one-to-one with my clients, and what I aim to do is to really help them to become masters of their minds, to give them the tools and strategies to know, and the self-awareness to know how to manage their minds, which, as we all know, it can be a real beast. So that's what I really bring to my coaching. I combine my training in psychology with mindfulness, with neuroscience and coaching, and bring it all together. You can find me here, so you can find me on my website, you can contact me on my email there, and you can also find me on my Instagram page at LucySpicer_. So what is my intention for this session? So my intention is to teach you the psychoeducation behind why we overthink. And by doing that, that's going to help you have more control of overthinking, because you'll know why you are doing it. And it won't just be your mind playing tricks on you. I'm going to give you the tools and strategies to stop overthinking, which you can easily incorporate into your everyday today. So these aren't going to be strategies that you need to take hours out for your day. It's literally things that you are going to be able to do in the moment. And then, as I said before, I'm going to finish this workshop on doing a guided meditation, which is going to really bring all the strategies that I discussed together. And hopefully it'll be leaving you to spend the rest of your Sunday in a very calm state, especially if you've just done the workshop before and just finished on that beautiful meditation. So I'm hoping now this chat feature is just going to suddenly come to life, because at the moment I can't see it. What I would love for you to do is to give me a yes in the comments if these questions resonate with you. So out of all the people here, give me a yes. How many of you think the same thoughts over and over again? And are these thoughts usually negative rather than positive? And are they usually worried about something bad happening, or sort of grounded in feeling stressed? And do you find that your mind often feels cluttered and full? So if these are resonating with you, give me a yes in the chat. Oh, here it is, 45 yeses. Okay, yes, 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 negative, yes, Monica, yes, Ro, yes, yes to all, yes, negative, yes, yes, very, yes, 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 a double yes. Writing things down and journaling has helped ease these anxieties. Jennifer, great. We're going to go into that later. Yes, yes. That is a lot of yeses. I think I've hit nearly everyone saying yes. Alison, yes, always. So already, hopefully, you're feeling empowered to know that you are so not alone with this. You are so not alone with this. This is one of the mind's real tricks, is to getting us into this pattern of overthinking. So firstly, as I said, there's nothing wrong with you. I'm going to try and hide this chat now. Okay. It is completely normal, I can't stress this enough, to overthink. And we tend to do it more when we are feeling stressed and when we are feeling under pressure and when we are feeling anxious. This is when overthinking really comes into its own. It's a normal part of being a human. And it's a part of our threat response. So if we're not feeling safe, our mind tries to think of the worst case scenario happening, and then we go into this pattern of sort of problem solving to stop anything bad happening to you. So we might have a situation that causes us a bit of stress. We'll then overthink it. We'll probably make it into a much bigger problem than it actually is, and then kind of try and problem solve and think of the different ways that it might turn out in our head as well, and get into that pattern. Because ultimately we're trying to protect ourselves against a thought. Because what it actually does is it just leaves us worrying and thinking about something that is probably never going to happen, which really isn't very helpful. And I covered this in my anxiety workshop. With any anxious thoughts or when we're feeling stressed, we tend to really magnify the situation and really get caught up in thinking about the worst case scenario, which usually never plays out. So, for example, at the moment, with everything that's going on in lockdown, and I'm sorry I'm just triggering, sort of mentioning coronavirus, but an example of this might be us thinking back. Our worries are usually rooted in the past or thinking about the future. We might be thinking back to an event where we might maybe haven't used the anti-bac spray, for example, or your hand sanitizer, and haven't covered all areas of you or an item that you've touched. And what might then happen is that thought sticks in our brain and we think it over and over and over and over and over again, worrying about it. And then we might magnify the issue and then convince ourselves that we have the virus. So can you see how this sort of plays out? A small situation can then really be magnified in our mind. And when we do that, we're using up a lot of our energy because we're then stressfully sort of living out scenarios which aren't likely to happen. So this is a real pattern of overthinking. And it might shock you to know that we have approximately 70,000 thoughts a day. 70,000 thoughts a day. And most of these thoughts are negative. So our minds can really create a negative space to be. And when we're in a negative frame of mind, we then sort of create a bias for ourselves, and we're more likely to look for more bad things because we're in that state of mind. So we need to be really aware of this, that we have lots and lots and lots of thoughts a day. And on top of this, I want to put this to you, and I wonder if anyone will get it right. If I have any budding psychologists or psychologists in here, you might get this. But what percentage, tell me in the chat, what percentage of these thoughts, of these 70,000 thoughts, do you think are repeated from the previous day? So tell me in the chat, what percentage of these thoughts that you have every day are thoughts repeated from the previous day? What we got? Oh, okay. Oh, we're getting close. 70%, 80%, 80%, 100, 70%, 80%, 70%, 60 to 70%, 95%, 85%, most, yeah, 75%, 85%, 85%, Lisa, 65%. Oh, someone's already got the number, 85%. Any more guesses? So what percentage of thoughts do you think are repeated from the previous day? Any more guesses? You can see the winner. Okay, so Jennifer, you are spot on. You've already guessed one of my strategies and now you've got it. So 95% of our thoughts are repeated. And most of these thoughts will be negative, as I said, and we have that negative bias in our mind. So 95% of those thoughts, they're likely to be negative. So it's no wonder if we have so many thoughts that are repeated that we fall into this trap of overthinking the same thought again, again, and again. So on top of this, oh, I just skipped, our thoughts are automatic. So our thoughts are automatic. So these 70,000 thoughts that we have are automatic thoughts. We can't control what thoughts enter our mind. What we can do is we can decide what to do with them. So we can't control what enters, but we can decide, and that's where your power lies, in knowing what to do with them. And this is exactly what I'm going to help you with in this workshop. And to do this, we need to do something called metacognition. So we need to be able to switch our minds into thinking about our thinking. And this is a really powerful question for you to ask yourself when you're getting into a pattern of overthinking, to ask yourself, what am I thinking about? To create that awareness rather than being caught up in it. So that is called metacognition. So you're up here, all your thoughts are here, and you're observing your thoughts from above and creating that self-awareness. So for any of you that are into neuroscience, this is the neuroscience behind the overthinking trap. So can you all think, so using that metacognition, can you all think of a thought that often enters your head, your mind? This might be to do with work or relationships. It might be to do with sort of predicting the future and worries about coming out of lockdown. Whatever is consuming your mind the most at the moment. And if you're comfortable to, it'd be great if you could sort of share the theme of the thought, if that's easiest, in the chat box. So what theme of thought constantly sort of plays on your mind? Great one. Jennifer, you're a pro. Shelby, yeah, I'm starting college this fall on top of being online because of COVID. Yeah, right's going on there. Relationship issues, trust and setting boundaries, great. Work and making errors, that's a massive one, Sarah. Nikki being able to travel back home to the US, yeah, that must be very difficult. My boyfriend and I won't last. Again, relationships, going to put on weight, work, relationships, health issues, work boundaries, not taking things personally and know what people say is more about them, not taking things personally. Great. Not good enough. Yeah, Harry, that's really common. Christine, am I enough? So really similar to what Harry is saying there. External circumstances harming my kids, setting boundaries, failing my digital marketing course, and a relationship I want to work that seems to be more long distance for now. Taking a long time to find a new job, sure, because of the circumstances. Again, not good enough. Another theme again, errors at work. Anxiety is going to take the best of me. Yeah. Self-doubt and don't feel enough. So can we start to see there's a real theme coming through here around self-doubt, not feeling good enough, relationships, worries again about the future, so that future focus, being able to set boundaries. And actually that's one that's really on my mind at the moment. Relationships, health issues, again, situations because of the coronavirus. There's real themes here, guys, and to those of you that haven't shared, hopefully this has sort of picked on some of the things that you might overthink. And thank you very much for overthinking, and not for overthinking, for sharing with me what's going on for you at the moment. So with this in mind, try and hold on to this and what you've shared with me as I know now go through the workshop, and you can apply the strategies to the thoughts that you've now identified using metacognition in the chat. So what happens here? So the more you worry about something, so whether that's boundaries, relationships, not being good enough, fear of making errors at work, fear of what it will mean now, sort of the coronavirus and future plans. So the more you worry about that or sort of obsess over that thought, the more you're going to think about it, so the more it preoccupies your mind. And then what happens is we then activate a part of our brain that's called the amygdala. It like grabs its attention. We've thought about that thought enough and it's created feelings of worry that we've now activated the amygdala. And that's the part of the brain that's really sort of involved in, it's always studied by scientists, a really interesting part, is involved in anxiety and fear. So as I said before, we sort of go into that threat alert state. And when we do that, we then can also get the physiological symptoms of anxiety and of stress. So there's feelings of feeling overwhelmed, of having butterflies in your stomach, of feeling nauseous, of feeling like your heart is racing, feeling that you are short of breath. So all those physiological symptoms of anxiety are then likely to be generated. We've got the amygdala's attention, that's then kickstarted up this adrenaline, the surge of adrenaline in our body. So we now have the physiological symptoms of anxiety. And guess what's going to then happen is that we're going to worry more about the thing that we're worried about, because our body then convinces ourselves that this really is something to worry about. Now I'm feeling the feelings in my body. So this is how we become trapped. And we're now going to learn how to break the trap and how we can stop the mind from thinking about this thought over and over and over again. So it's a very simple method that I'm going to share with you. I love the power of 3. So it's a 3-step method. So how can we stop overthinking using this 3-step method? Number 1, you've heard me say it before and I'll say it again. Think about thinking. Observe the thought. Don't let it just rule your mind. Really create that pause and observe the thought. And ask yourself, what am I thinking right now? So, have I fallen back into that trap of overthinking about me and my boyfriend not lasting, or me making a mistake at work, or worries that I'm not going to be able to fly and get back home? Am I entertaining that thought again? And when you do that, you can do that just by thinking a thought, or as Jennifer mentioned earlier, you can write it down, which can be an easier way of then being able to learn if there's a certain pattern of thoughts that you're having, a certain pattern to it, which actually you're clearly all very self-aware because you've labeled it perfectly for me in the chat, so that you can say to yourself, you know, my thoughts are usually around relationships, they're usually around work and failure, they're usually about self-doubt, and get your awareness going. What you don't want to do is to try not to think about the thoughts. So actively say to yourself that I'm not going to think about the thoughts, because you will just end up thinking about it. It's how our minds work. So if I told you right now not to think of a pink elephant, I guarantee a lot of you now will have a picture of a pink elephant in your mind. We can't control what thoughts are entering our mind. But as I said before, where your control lies is what you do with them and how much attention you give them. So this is when we move on to now. So creating distance and choice. So this is when you're building your power even more over overthinking. So when you have a thought about the thought, you've already created the distance between you and your thought, because you then have a choice. You can choose what thoughts you want to spend more time with, and actually what thoughts you can let go of. And a really key question here is one that I use myself, one that I equip my clients, is ask you, is having this thought serving me right now? Is having this thought, this worry about my relationship ending, or this worry about potentially making a mistake at work in the future, is that really serving me right now as I'm enjoying my Sunday afternoon, sitting in the sun, whatever you've been doing, is that serving me? And what would happen if I let go of that thought? What would happen? Would that create space for more helpful thoughts? Would it help me feel more calm? So that's your question to ask yourself. You have the power to let the thoughts sort of keep playing out or to let them go. And by doing that, you ask yourself, is this thought serving me? Do I need to entertain this constantly? And what we want to do next, and I'm sure you're already aware of mindfulness and being in the present, especially if you've just done the meditation before, is coming back to the present. And this is really important because your mind is a really powerful sort of thinking toolkit and has the ability to think about the here and now. But it also has the ability to recall information about the past, which is probably not helpful to you, and the ability to predict and think about things that may or may not happen in the future. So when we focus most of our time in the present, if we really try and build our skills to be able to be more present focused, we're going to then spend less time worrying about things that have happened in the past and going over and over and over again in our heads about it, or worrying about things that might happen in the future, which are actually not likely to happen. So we really need to build our awareness and our skills to be in the present. And the best practice to be able to do this, as I've mentioned before, is through mindfulness. And you can do this through meditation, or just simply, it doesn't need to be an hours long meditation if you can't fit that into your day, just simply focusing on your breath. So if I tell you right now, just to focus on your breath, just pay attention to your breath right now for the next 3 breaths. You're automatically now more present focused. It's as simple as that. I watched an incredible YouTube video by a Buddhist monk. It's brilliant. And he said in it, you know, meditations do not need to be these really long things. It's as simple as to stop the chatter in your mind, just focus on the breath. Just bring your attention from up here to your breath and you're present focused, you've meditated. And by doing this and focusing on our breath, it's our brain's reset mechanism. And that's going to really help you then to think more logically and rationally, and not just get caught up in the thoughts and the anxiety around them. And you can make these meditations and this breath work even more powerful by incorporating positive affirmations. So just by saying to yourself, as you breathe, I am in control of my thoughts, it's going to make it even more powerful. So as you breathe, you say, I am in control of my thoughts. I am in control of my thoughts. I'm not letting my thoughts rule me. That's going to feel even more powerful, and it's going to help reprogram your subconscious mind and let you know that actually it's you in control. And when you do this, and some of you might find also later with the meditation, when you do this, you might be quite self-critical of yourself and say, oh, but my mind wanders, it goes back off to the thought, or it goes into my to-do list, or whatever it might be. That is completely normal. All you need to do is gently guide it back, bring it back to your breathing exercise, bring it back to your affirmation. You're not failing, you are just exercising the mental muscle to choose what you focus on, and you're strengthening it each time. So when we go through the meditation, especially if you're new to it, later in this workshop, remind yourself, if your mind wanders, that's not that you're bad at meditation, it's just what minds do, and with practice, you'll be able to be more present focused. So these are my 3 steps, my 3-step method. Observe, think about your thinking and don't get caught up in it. By doing that, you're creating distance. You then have a choice. Does this thought serve me? What would happen if I let it go? And by doing that, you do that by coming back to the present. Now, tell me yes in the chat box. Oh, sorry, let me just see this. Jenna's iPhone. I find focus on my breath can, sorry, I'm just going to answer this question. I'm going to go on to this. Start thinking now if overthinking is, yes, sorry, said it. Does it stop you from getting to sleep? Don't know what to do with meditation until she does. Okay. Yeah, Jenna, if you reach out to me separately on my email, I will give you a couple more techniques that are not breath work that might be able to help you better. So if you email me, lucy@lucyspicer.com, I'll give you another technique to do that I did in the previous workshop. Okay, so is overthinking stopping you from getting to sleep? So when your head hits the pillow, is that when your mind goes into overdrive? Give me a yes. I'm getting lots of yeses here. Yes, yes, always. Yes, yes, yes. Sometimes, sometimes. Yes, yes. It happens all day, Shelby. Yes, no problem, Jenna. Yes, yes. For years. Yes, Monica. Yes, and I can't sleep at all. Sarah, no. Stop sleeping, getting out of bed. Yes, just after waking up. Yeah, that's another one. That's another one. It's like, oh, we're awake. And the mind goes straight into action and overthinking. We got a lot of yeses here. Meditating and journaling helped a lot. Oh, Navi, you just wait for my 3 strategies. You just hit it, the nail on the head. Meditating, journaling, not watching TV or going on my phone. That's exactly where I'm going to go. Yes, Linda. Yes, Venetia. I said, yeah, that's another one, Jenna. As soon as you wake up, you could still use these strategies when you wake up. They'd work both ways. Okay, so I think we've got a fair share of yeses here. So you might find, and it sounds like a lot of you do, that your mind is most active at night. And as soon as you hit the pillow, it goes into overdrive. Yeah, Monica. And this is really common. It's almost like we create that stillness for ourselves, and our mind is like, hello, you've still got loads of thinking to do, and we get caught up in that pattern again of overthinking when we're trying to switch off. Because these racing thoughts in our mind makes it very difficult for us to switch off. It can then lead us to feeling overwhelmed, and as a lot of you said, it's then keeping you awake at night. So what's going to really help you here is, first of all, using my three-step method, as I've just gone through with you. So observing, creating distance, choice, and bring yourself back to the present. That's going to really help you. First of all, what you also need to do is you also need to work on your environment. And establishing a bedtime routine or a pre-bedtime routine that's going to help you to calm down and unwind is going to really serve you in your quest to overcoming overthinking. I can't stress this enough, guys. We are constantly switched on now, especially because of social media. We're all working crazy long hours, and it's so important, just as it is when I used to work with children and to work with their parents on them having good sleep hygiene, is just as important for us as adults. My first one, stop scrolling. Get off Instagram, get off Twitter, get off the news, and stop replying to WhatsApp. And for those of you that have mentioned boundaries, this is one of your boundaries. Set a time to which you'll reply to messages, and then that be your cutoff time. I've done this now, and it's a game changer. So I don't reply to work emails after 7, and I don't reply to any WhatsApps or DMs past 9 from sort of friends and family. That's a cutoff for me. So put your phone on airplane mode, please, before you get into bed. I know it's so tempting to scroll as you're lying in bed, but this is going to really serve you, because the blue light, one, is not going to help. Oh, here we go, do not disturb, it's great. Blue light's not going to help. Constant notifications aren't going to help. And through scrolling, all we're doing is processing more and more and more information, which is just a recipe for a switched on brain. So we're constantly receiving information. So that is my first one. Use something like Lizzie said, the do not disturb from 9 p.m. until 7 a.m. And I'm very realistic as a coach with my clients. I'm very realistic. It's doing my way and setting it, not replying to work after 7 or not replying to texts from friends. Yes, Diana, that one's played on my mind before, but we have to again think.
You wash your face mask?
Pardon?
You wash your face mask?
Sorry. So Diana, we have to think,
wear a face shield.
What are the actual chances of that happening? How many times before has that happened? Again, that's sort of our anxious mind thinking of the worst case scenario. Chances are things are going to be okay. Of course, if you have, a relative that's unwell or a friend that's unwell and you're a point, emergency contact, that would be very different. But for most of us, it's going to be safe for us to be able to turn off our phones or put them on airplane mode at night. Okay, here we go. Lizzie, you're so helpful. You can set it up so phone calls can get through. There we go. That's the thing to do. So stop scrolling, guys. Number 1 rule. Number 2, get your journal out. Get your happiness planner out. Get it out. And first of all, make a list. Make a to-do list of all the tasks that you need to complete tomorrow. So let me know if this resonates with you, but for a lot of us, overthinking is likely to be about tasks, like incomplete tasks or things that need to be done tomorrow or in the future. Yeah. So get this down onto a piece of paper. Journaling is amazing because it takes out whatever's cluttered in our mind onto paper, and it kind of diffuses its power. So if you're lying in bed, worried about tasks you need to do, saying to yourself, oh, I need to remember to do that tomorrow, you're again just making yourself more and more switched on. So that's my first one, is do list of the task. My next one is get your journal out. Again, use a different part of your journal and just spend 5-15 minutes, I think someone's mentioned this already, writing down any thoughts that have been causing you worry, stress, and frustration. So get down those thoughts. Stop letting them live up in your head. Get them down onto paper. Writing down your emotions or your worried thoughts is really going to help to relieve your stress and anxiety. What you can do by taking them out of your mind, you first of all diffuse their power. And then second of all, when you write them down in your journals, you can try and reframe it into a more helpful thought. So if you're worried about the future, even writing down an alternative thought to yourself by saying, it doesn't serve me, worrying about the future, and I'm just instead going to focus on the here and now. I don't know what will happen in the future, but I know I'm safe and happy now, is a much more helpful thought. So that would be my next step. So get your to-do list out your mind, and then get your thoughts down into your mind, fuse their power, one, and try and change them into more helpful thoughts for yourself. And if you find that difficult, you can say to yourself, and this can be an easy way of doing it, if my friend came to me with that thought, what advice would I give her or him? Give the same advice to yourself. So those are my two ways of using your journal. And the third one is meditation. Like we said before, focusing on your breath. And I'm going to do something different. Was it Jenna that reached out to me, I think? So meditation is such an effective tool at calming your overactive mind and preparing you to fall asleep. So by doing meditation, you're going to really help create space in your mind by decluttering it. An analogy I often use for myself, or how I feel when I get to bed, is I have like files scattered all over the floor, and they're my thoughts from today or thoughts about the future. And by meditating and decluttering, it sort of feels like they've then been organized back into their files. So through journaling and meditation, that's how I feel by the end of it. And that's going to give me a much better chance of falling asleep. So those are my 3 top tips for when you're trying to get to sleep at night. And this is something, guys, you're going to need to practice over and over again. With meditation in mind, I'm now going to move on to take you through a guided meditation. And in this meditation, it's going to really combine the strategies that we've been speaking about in this workshop. So if you can just give yourself, it's about 10 minutes now to do this meditation with me. So you've just taken on a lot of information from me. And what I invite you to do is to find a comfortable spot now for you to sit or lie down, gently supported. I want you to take 3 deep breaths. And as you do so, imagine yourself breathing out tension and breathing in relaxation. Inhale, relaxation. And exhale any tension that you're holding on to. And as you take another deep breath, allow your breathing to become smooth and regular. Bring your attention into the present moment and to the sensations of your breath. The sensation of your body, particularly where it is making contact with the chair or the floor. Take a few easy, comfortable breaths. And as you breathe, imagine yourself walking through the forest. Imagine the green grass under your feet, the tall trees around you, and the blue sky overhead. You know the way around the forest. You are safe and protected. The sun is just right, not too warm. You feel the gentle breeze on your face and hear the birds overhead. Breathe in the fragrances in the air and feel every step that you take. And as you walk, you come to a meadow. There's soft green grass, wildflowers, and trees all around it. Notice a shallow, fast stream of water at the edge of the meadow, underneath the trees. Come up to it and find a place to sit comfortably. Take a moment to pay attention to the water. As it runs over the rocks on the bottom of the shallow stream. Listen closely to the babbling sound of the water. Notice how clean and clear the water is. You can see every piece of sand and every pebble on the bottom. You might even want to touch the water, noticing how cool and refreshing it is. And notice how from time to time a leaf falls from the tree, gently floats towards the river, and floats away out of sight. And another leaf falls from the tree, floats towards the water, and is carried away. Now pay attention to the thoughts going around your mind right now. Whatever those thoughts are, notice them, pick one, attend to it kindly for a moment, long enough to label the thought as planning, or wishing, or worrying, or predicting, or whatever the thought might be. Now, imagine taking the thought gently out of your mind and placing it on one of those falling leaves. Watching it twirl towards the water, land on its surface, and float away out of sight. Notice another thought that's popped into your mind. Attend to it for a moment with curiosity. Label it, place it on a falling leaf, and watch it twirl away towards the water and float away out of sight.
Trouble.
There is no,
You're running, Jeff. What are you doing?
There is no need to engage with those thoughts. No need to change them in any way. No need to hold on to them. No need to make them go away. Simply notice the thought you're having it. Label it. Place it on a leaf and watch it float away. And when you notice your mind engaging with a thought and then following it somewhere, acknowledge that wherever your mind is going, remember that it's normal, and just gently allow it to return to watching your thoughts and the leaves and the stream. Notice your thoughts, label it, place it on a leaf, and watch it float away out of sight. You will notice that some thoughts come back again and again, because this is what our thoughts do. They come and go, they come and go. No matter whether you've experienced this thought you're having for the first time a moment ago, or if you haven't seen it in a while, just notice it. Attend to it for a brief moment with kindness. Label it. Place it on a leaf and watch it land on the water and float away. We don't need to engage or argue with our thoughts. There's no need to change your thoughts. No need to hold on to them or make them go away. Just attend to the thoughts, coming and going as they do. Notice it, label it, place it on a leaf, and watch it float away out of sight. And if you notice yourself judging yourself for having some of those thoughts, or judging the thoughts themselves, notice that. Label the judging thought as judgment. Place it on a leaf, watch it twirl towards the stream and float away. Just watching your thoughts come and go as they always do. You can use this strategy whenever you find yourself overthinking. Imagine the forest and the stream. Notice your thoughts. Attend to it with kindness. Place it on a leaf and watch it float away. Whenever you're ready, open your eyes and return to the room. I hope you're feeling a little bit more relaxed. And I love this strategy. I'm sorry for the home phone going off mid-meditation. But this is a really helpful analogy for you to use. And it's a meditation that I'm going to be recording soon. Noticing that thought, attending to it with kindness, labeling it, and just watching it float away. And you can use this when you're lying in bed or when you're starting your day at work and you find yourself falling into that pattern of overthinking. Just close your eyes, take yourself back to that forest, notice your thought, label it, and just watch it float away on that leaf. And this is my real take-home message here. Practice. Like anything new, you're going to need to practice these strategies over and over again. It's like practicing any new skill. And the more that you do it, and I see it happen with my clients, it just will become an automatic process that you're able to do. And you'll find that you'll become less and less attached to these thoughts and you won't fall into this trap as much of overthinking. I also wanted to remind you that even though your mind's going to try and trick you otherwise, your thoughts are not facts. The thoughts that you have and your predictions about the future are not facts. They are just electrochemical impulses in our brain. So when they try to take hold of you and convince you otherwise, remember you have the power and you can remind yourself, all this is, no matter how powerful it might be, is just an electrochemical impulse in my brain. I'm jumping on another Q&A, a live Q&A at 6, but I can spend 5 minutes or so now just answering any questions you might have, anything you want to share with me, any strategies you found particularly helpful would be great to hear. And as I said before, you can find me on my website, through my email address, and also on my Instagram page. Thank you, Rosemary, thank you, Sarah, thank you, Sinead. Thank you, and please, that strategy was helpful. I noticed at times if I was less willing to let the thought go, the leaf struggled down the river. I love that that's an analogy. I'd give it an extra shove. If there's some resistance there, still use that analogy. Imagine that there's a big current coming down, or a wave, and it's really then pushed it away. But it's great that you've got that awareness and you can notice that there's some resistance there, and that's the thought that you're really going to want to push down the river. Thank you, Lizzie, thank you, Christine, thank you, Susie, thank you, Katie. Oh, why can't our brain differentiate between actual reality and our thoughts? Shelby, you know what, if I had a magic wand for that, I would be a millionaire. But this is how it's generating that awareness of you showing up, coming to workshops like this, learning the psychoeducation behind the why, because that's going to give you the power. Thank you. Yes, Jennifer, yes, I am working on my recorded guided meditations. It's really exciting. I'm going to be putting a package together, and that's going to be going up on my website and creating a shop on there in June. So watch this space. It's exactly what I'm trying to do. Thank you, Sinead. Thank you. One of them I totally splashed down the river. Hilarious. Thank you, guys. So yeah, exactly, Diana, but catch it, be proactive. When you do know it's just a thought, tell yourself that before it starts to spiral. Thank you so much. Happy Sunday. Thank you, Sally. Thank you, everyone. If you do follow me on Instagram, I'll now be going live. I'm doing a Q&A on there with another company that I work with. Thank you. Please also let me know if there's anything else you'd like me to cover. If the Happiness Planner have me back, I would love to do another workshop. So please reach out to both of us and let us know if there's any topics that you would like us to cover.
Yay, thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm so sorry for the house phone going off. I was like, no, mid-meditation.
No, it's great. Amazing. Everyone loved it. I love it.
Good. I'm so pleased.
Yeah.
I'm so pleased. Cool. Right. I'm going to have to get off and go on to the next thing, but all have wonderful Sundays. Thank you so much again, Mo, for inviting me and allowing me to do this and hopefully help other people.
Yeah. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.